Hi, guys.
Hello, hello.
Maggie, the world traveler over here.
I know. I've barely been home.
I feel like you're
I
never in
went
the
down to
same state lately.
Charlottesville. I went to Alabama. I am back in Alexandria now, and I will be for the whole week. So,
Just 1 week.
yeah. Yes, just 1 week.
Do you move after this one
What can I
week?
say? No.
No. Okay. Okay.
I stay in Alexandria for this week. I'm going down to Richmond on Saturday for a concert, and then I'll be back. But then next week, I'm going to New Hampshire for a bike packing trip, and then I'll come back. I'll have a bit of time here, and then I'll move to Wisconsin, be in Wisconsin for a little while, go up to Minneapolis for 1 day for orientation, back to Wisconsin, and then move.
That makes me tired.
It's a
This whole
little
summer,
chaotic.
like your summer is very intense, Maggie, but I feel like this whole summer has been this sort of like never settled feeling
Yep.
for me. Like we have
Correct.
had a race essentially 3 weeks apart since May, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
May, June, July, now August, and now because Aaron didn't do like Placid, September.
September.
So it's just like feels very stacked and like not a lot of time to sort of like regroup and get your life together.
I feel like my apartment's constantly just like slightly unpacked slash packed for the next thing. Like I looked at some of my stuff the
Yes.
other day and I was like, what is the point of putting that fully away when I have to pack it in like a week? So
Mm-hmm.
there's just stuff everywhere right now.
Yeah, we just stopped putting the suitcase away.
Correct.
Yeah.
Why? It's a waste of time.
Anyway, if you've made it through this little intro about our travel lives, we appreciate you. Welcome to Average Age Groupers, where we talk about endurance sports through the lens of an average human. And today we don't have a guest, but we are going to talk about Laura and I's upcoming 70.3, which we've mentioned a few times that we've got that coming up. And we're going to talk a little bit about managing through mental health related to this sport, which I feel like to the point of us opening with all of the travel and changing things, that can take a significant toll on mental health.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Not having like a moment to
Yeah.
reset. That's Holly. I'm Laura.
And I'm Maggie.
So should we just dive into Reading?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you literally
Yeah.
dove into Reading training post Unbound. It was like, oh, okay. Pivot.
When did you two officially register?
Well,
When did you decide on this one?
Okay.
so
Well,
so originally, so back in February around the time of Claire's birthday. Actually, it was Claire's birthday. She really wanted kind of a group race trip.
mhm.
And so she and I, for her birthday, signed up for North Carolina 70.3. A couple months goes by. I had the car accident. I think it was the car accident weekend, was it?
Well, this was also, they had signed up for North Carolina, and I wasn't even sure I was racing this year.
Yeah.
This was also like, I mean, we can touch point on this when we talk about mental health. Like, I was unsure at the start of 2026 if I even wanted to race at all this year. So there was like, maybe I'll do North Carolina, not sure. I signed up, bought tickets for a concert, forgetting when North Carolina was, and we pivoted.
Well, it became like a multitude of
Yeah.
things. So like I think we had gone to Oceanside and I might have the timing slightly off. So like don't hold me to this exact timeline for anybody listening, Claire. But like the I'm pretty sure it was the weekend after I was in the accident because I was in the car accident on April 2nd and it was Easter, I think it was Easter weekend, which was April 5th. We got together as like a sort of spur of the moment run. It was freezing. I couldn't run, like, because I was too sore from the car accident. It had just been 3 days. So I was walking. Casey, Claire, Aaron ran. And it was literally, it was so cold, guys. That's like, this is what stands out to me. But we get back to the coffee shop, and Claire had actually started talking to me about switching races actually before the coffee shop. She had started talking to me about switching races a couple of days earlier. We had gotten together with her and her husband, and she was like, I think we should do a different race. And I was like, well, why? And she was like, well, Laura can't do this one, Casey can't do this one. What about Michigan? And I was like, Michigan is the week after Wisconsin. There was
We don't
something
have a
else.
burning desire to race in Michigan also.
No, I mean, that one's like on my list for like a maybe sometime it would be nice, but it's not like top of the list. And I was like, I don't know about that one. I can't remember exactly why I was against that. Maybe Casey couldn't do, I can't remember. Whatever, doesn't matter. And so we were going through all of the fall 70.3s, and I was like, I'm not doing Wisconsin. Not interested in doing that one again. If we don't do North Carolina and we don't do Michigan, you start to get really limited because there's just not a ton of options in the fall. And I was like, well, there's this new one in California. And so we were just talking about it. And it was a little bit like Claire's husband was possibly not going to be able to go to North Carolina with her because he works a journalism job, and it's very close to the election. And so she was like, he might be too busy doing like pre-election coverage that he couldn't go with me. She really wanted him to go. So we were just like looking at all the different races, and then it was whatever it was with Northern California. It was like, well, that weekend would work. Like, that's like a possible weekend. It would be after Lake Placid, which at the time Aaron was racing Lake Placid. So I was like, that'll be great. When I'm in peak training, he'll be done. Right. So, like, all of that.
It's a flat bike course. That was like an
Well, it's a
appealing part of it.
net
Yeah.
downhill bike course. It's not flat.
Not
There's
flat.
some climbing, but it's net downhill, point to point bike course. There are a few things about it that were interesting to everybody. We've never been to that part of California. The timing was going to be, at the time, was going to be good.
We were like, oh, we'll have part of our summer left. LOL.
Yeah. So that was sort of how we landed on it. It wasn't initially the first choice because I really wanted the down current swim. This is not going to be a down current swim. But that's how it worked out. And I'm excited to go to California and like go somewhere new and see something new. So yeah, that's the very long-winded way of how we got to choosing North
And you
Carolina.
guys like changed your registration that day. And I'm pretty sure you booked your flights.
No, it was not that day. It was sometime in the following week.
Or you had like picked which flights. I think you had like
We looked up,
yeah.
we looked up flights to be like, oh, how much would it cost and like whatever.
Because Claire called me and she's like, we're switching races. And I'm like, oh God. Okay.
So then you signed up too.
I mean, not immediately, but it was like, I was like, I need to like ponder this, think through this. I feel like I signed up like a month later. I didn't sign up right away, but it was like decided I was going to race it.
Yeah, it was, we were trying to get Casey to do it too. We were not successful in convincing Casey to race it. But that was one of the other reasons for choosing that date, is that she would not be in school and would be able to if she wanted to. Yeah. So Reading. So that, like, in retrospect, there's a few things. Like, in retrospect, I maybe wouldn't have done it. It was so close to the car accident. I didn't fully realize the extent of the injury from the accident. And I was very focused on Unbound at that time. Still, that was, what, 6, 7 weeks out from Unbound, we made that decision. And I think, like, had I known what I know now, I would have been like, Claire, you do you. I need the extra time to be ready for a race. Like, right now, for me, when I think about like the state that I'm in, and we can get into the mental health part of this and the build for Reading, and then Aaron's accident and everything, like, this race is I will be lucky to finish, is how I'm feeling today. So, yeah.
Because North Carolina is end of October.
Yeah.
So it would have been like probably 5 extra weeks of.
More than that, from August to end of
Yeah.
October. It would have been almost 8
Wait,
weeks.
I'm forgetting September. I'm so sorry about that. There's a month in between there.
Yeah. It would have been almost 8 weeks. Yeah.
My brain is functioning slightly. I'm not. So yeah, that's a full it's a full build essentially that you could have had. So
Well, and then because how much time did you take off after Unbound before getting into training for Reading?
A week.
A week.
Yeah.
not a lot of time.
No. And I haven't been able to do all of the things based on the accident, which I guess, like, we can talk really quick about the Reading build to this point. So I stuck with the same coach. You know, any of our listeners who have listened to all of our episodes will know that I talked about the coach that I hired for Unbound. Have stayed with her and will stay with her through Reading before taking a break this fall. So it just made sense, right? Like, what? I'm not gonna switch kind of in the middle like this. But it's been a struggle to get through the build for Reading. Her style of coaching for triathlon is very different than what I'm used to. And so she loves a big brick workout as part of the build. And so in these weeks leading up to Reading, like I would say the last next weekend. So the weekend this podcast comes out, I will be doing my longest bike workout, although yesterday was technically the biggest brick. So she's not worried about bike fitness at all for me because of Unbound. So when I haven't, we'll get into like Holly can't make it through a bike ride in the mental health portion as well. But like, she's not so worried about that volume because I'm carrying such a huge base from Unbound forward. So she's kind of stuck to everything else. But runs have been very difficult. These big bricks have been really, really hard. And I'm hoping on race day it'll feel like it's paying off. But if you ask me today, they're a little demoralizing. So,
because you're also like from the accident coming back to running.
yes.
Like
Yeah.
you didn't run at all with your build to Unbound. One with biking so much, and then the accident, you weren't cleared to run. So that's like a big part of this
I was
too.
supposed to be running as part of cross training for Unbound, so I was supposed to run like 2 shorter runs a week as part of Unbound. After the accident happened, I could not run at all.
Right.
So I did not run at all for probably 8 weeks, I think.
And you weren't swimming either.
I could not swim either from the whiplash from the accident. Yeah, so I tried the week after the accident. I tried to swim because I thought, oh, maybe, you know how sometimes like swimming where it's like it's sort of the weightless activity, right? Like no pounding, no tension, whatever. I actually thought like maybe swimming will make me feel better, and it made the whiplash 10 times worse.
So yeah, you essentially jumped both feet into a build. Like there was no ramp up, slow progression. Like I feel like you had to jump right into it, which is not easy. Like
No, I was counting a lot on the aerobic fitness and bike fitness to carry me into this build. But we can get more into that. But do you want to talk about your build? Because you're self-coaching.
I am self-coaching. I am just following kind of the same 80-20 plan that we had done for North Carolina with like modifications. I am not biking a ton solely because I don't want to hate my bike. That was a big worry for me.
Yeah, that was something that you really dealt with during and after Wisconsin.
Yeah. And like I'm knowing that next year is a full Ironman year, I'm trying to just like manage and maintain currently. So I went into this where I'm like, if I get the big volume on the weekend and like at least 1-2 during the week, I will be happy with that. My run volume's been super high, mainly because it's very easy for me to run after work versus bike after work. There's only so much sunlight to feel safe on my bike by myself after work. So I've been running a lot for this build, which my run has felt very good. So I'm also banking on coming off of the bike and hoping that carries me. My swim is just, I don't know. The Laura of like 3 years ago would be like, wow, you're not panicking about swimming a half iron distance. Like, it's just going to be what it is. I haven't, I mean, knock on wood, panicked in the water at all this year so far. That's been a highlight. I feel like swimming, we swam in Mirror Lake at Lake Placid. I was like, this would be where it would like hit me because the water was slightly chilly. There was other swimmers around. There was like a little chop, and I was like, okay. And I just swam and felt fine. So I'm just rolling with that. I mean, my builds are always interesting with my work schedule because I have to work around that. Next week, yeah, whenever this comes out, we're doing 60. And then my weekend will be slightly interesting because I am pacing Kelly Grego, who was on the podcast, part of his 100-mile race. So we will bike in the morning. I will take a nap. And then I have the 9:30 p.m. slot, which is, it'll be 11.4 miles with him. I'm also hoping that kind of like bodes, it's brickish in a way, but with, few couple hours in between, that'll be good, I think, for my legs. And then we leave for the race. So I don't know. My build's been fine. It's nothing out of this world. I'm just trying to manage not hating parts of the sport in anticipation of next year.
Well, it seems like you've been really loving the run
Yes.
more so than usual.
Yeah. Like I've stayed uninjured for quite a while now, which is, I think, a lot of keeping me on like a track. So, yeah, loving the run. I feel like fit on the run. So, we'll see what happens on race day. It'll be interesting coming off of a net downhill, like we talked about, bike course, because I did not feel great on the run in Chattanooga. So,
No, that run was, but that run was miserable for other reasons.
multitude of reasons.
I also think for us living in Wisconsin, those earlier season triathlons are hard because the weather, if you don't get good spring, it's just really hard to get out and like get the big volume workouts in leading up to a 70.3. And last year it was fucking freezing here in the spring. It was so cold. It was so windy. So we were doing like our final build into Chattanooga, like fully bundled up, like long pants, jackets, hats. And then we went to Chattanooga, which is the middle of May, and it was like 90 degrees and humid. And we were just in no way acclimated or prepared for that kind of weather.
Yeah, I think California it's going to be hot, but it will be dry. Unlike today, that was 80 degrees and 90% humidity. And the amount of sweat pouring off of my body was stupid.
It wasn't that hot today, but it was so humid.
And barely any air movement. Like you would get like a little breeze and you're like, oh my God, thank you. I just kept being like, this was preparing me for California.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. And I'm like, oh, they'll have ice to shove in my kit in California. I've nothing.
Every mile.
Shove my kit. So,
And it's on a shaded path for the run in Northern California. It's on a shaded path, which was the selling point for me about that run, was I was like, okay, the run looks like it will be really nice. Net downhill bike should be fun. But that run, if a course has a good run, then it's a fun race for me. If it has like a crappy run course, then not really into it. The run kind of makes it for me. Like I'll gut out a boring bike if the run is good.
yeah. So, I think it will be very fun doing an inaugural race. Because I think someone this morning was like, oh, are there like any like Facebook pages about this race? I was like, the tips and tricks for a race that hasn't occurred? Like, it's like, well, maybe like people live there. And I was like, I'm just winging it. Like, it's kind of nice going into something being like, I have zero clue what this is going to be like. The only choice is to go forward.
Yeah. And nobody's telling you any stories about it because nobody's done it before. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder if Ironman will do anything special. You'll
There
have
is
to
a
let me know.
pro men's race at this.
Hmm.
Oh, I haven't even looked at that.
Yeah, I was looking solely because I was looking at the like event calendar and I was like, pro men's start? What? So
But not pro women's, just
no,
pro
just a
men's.
men's race.
Hmm.
I feel like a couple other inaugural races have done that as well, where they have like a pro race to, I think it's to try and pull people to do it. So
Well, and they're kind of testing it to see what happens.
yeah.
You know, will they continue this or can it be a pro series? Like the one in Dallas became a pro series.
Oh yeah.
So, but okay, so that's getting ready for Reading. We'll do a race recap. Hopefully we can we're going to have to talk about how we're going to do that race recap. That's for another day. But we'll do a race recap after that race, and then we'll be able to tell everybody about what the course
Right.
is like and what was good and bad, and if it really is 100 degrees and all of that.
We are flying there. So bikes will be, fingers crossed, making it to California. And we have Sherpas. So
Yeah. Yes.
that will be a beautiful aspect.
Yeah. It'll be a little bit similar to Placid, and there'll be way more Sherpas than there are racers. So 3 of us racing.
We have three
Oh,
Sherpas.
3 Sherpas.
We
1 to
each
1.
have a designated
Yeah.
Sherpa.
Yeah.
1-to-1.
1 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess let's pivot this a little bit to the mental health side of this sport. And I think we hinted at it a little bit with some of the stuff I was talking about with the accident and not feeling super great about everything. I think that for me, this year, outside of triathlon, has easily been one of the hardest years of my life. Like, there have been hard years before, but this one has just been really hard. 25 was kind of a weird year. Did not race a lot in 25. It was kind of that post Ironman, like, try to find like balance and normalcy in life after doing an Ironman in 24. And so I also had very high hopes for 26. Not that 26 would be like amazing, although I think everybody hopes that at the beginning of a year, right? Like this is going to be a great year and there's like so much hope and so much promise and whatever. The year started out really like cool, like we had a great New Year's party, like there was tons of things that were awesome about it. But then I don't know, the winter here in the Midwest is really hard on me and the older I get, the clearer it becomes that like I can't make myself love it. Like I try to be like, let's do all these things and let's go outside and let's enjoy the snow and let's like try to like not be a hermit and I just can never quite get over like the feeling of always dark and cold all of the time and so that part of it was really hard and training for Unbound I think actually having that goal and knowing that was at the end of May actually was helpful for me through the winter only from the standpoint of we had to go ride our bikes and so we would go once or twice a week on the fat tire bikes and ride the mountain bike trails in the snow. And that was really good until I crashed on my fat tire bike. So that was sort of like the first like weird accident of the year for me. And that accident like really, while it was not major in any way and I wasn't super injured in terms of like I hit the ground pretty hard, but I didn't break anything. It was like a really stupid in the snow accident and because of the snow it was softer than had I hit like ground. But it really shook me up, and I went to a very dark place for a good month after that accident. Just not about the accident, but just like me personally, like a little bit of like, what am I doing? Like, we have not talked about him on here at all, but I work with Brandon Thelk, who works with a number of people that we know, but also pro triathletes and things like that. And I worked with him pretty close. And that it shook me up enough to the point of like, I was like, dang, I'm having like thoughts I haven't had in since I was a teenager. Like very dark, like, and we are not mental health professionals on this podcast. And so I don't want to like tell any kind of story that's going to like trigger anyone, but they were like on the like verge of like suicidal level thoughts. Like it was crazy. And I recognized them right away and I talked to him about that, like why is this coming back up? And and he talks a lot about like how different emotions get stored in your body and then how they can come back out. And that obviously this accident had activated something that was like bringing those thoughts back from when I was a teenager. And I had a very chaotic childhood, upbringing, teenage years. That's a whole story for another day. So that was like very hard, and I think that happened. That must have been well, that was before Oceanside. It was in mid-February. It was mid-February because Aaron had gone out of town for a weekend in February, and so it was close to that. Like that, he was with me when the accident happened, but then like all of that stuff started coming up when he was gone that mid-February time. So that was really tough, and I was like, I don't really know what to do with all of this that I'm feeling and thinking about, and like we're just gonna keep going because I'm not like injured. This was such a stupid freak thing. But again, it's like dark, it's cold, like everybody's got like tons of shit going on, so people aren't around a whole lot. So I'm just like working, trying to do my workouts to get ready for Unbound. And like that felt like that was my entire life. For me, then we go to Oceanside. We decide to start this podcast, and I think, okay, things are like coming around. Everybody heard my Dairy Roubaix recap, which happened. Was that after Oceanside? That was after
It was
Oceanside.
Yeah, it was.
Because the accident happened after Oceanside. So we go to Oceanside, and I'm thinking, like, great, like everything's turning around. Like, it's going to be a great summer. We've got all this stuff planned. It's going to be amazing. We get home from Oceanside. I'm in the car accident literally like the Thursday. Like, did we get home on a Wednesday? I think we got home on a Wednesday. I was in a
Yeah.
car accident the next day. And it was just like, I just remember standing on the side of the road after the accident, like waiting for the tow truck to come, waiting for Aaron to get there. I had a coworker with me. I'm just standing on the side of the road and I'm just like texting. Like I text Anne and I was like, I was just in a car accident. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like there were just people I started like being like, I have to sort of like let know what was going on. Laura already knew what had happened because she got the
I have a
alert
Tesla.
car.
I had the Tesla key card, so I
Yeah.
instantly knew what happened, which is also not enjoyable.
Yeah. And she was just like, "Are you okay?" And all I could text back was like, "I don't know," because I didn't at that point
Right.
know. But it was just sort of like in that moment of being like, having been on such a high of like this year is going to be amazing to being like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
And not knowing at that point, like I was not visibly injured. And I talked about this with Tana a little bit, but like it's very hard to have injuries that are not visible to the rest of the world. Like when you break something and you're on crutches or you have stitches or you're like visibly injured, like the world responds a certain way to that. When you have invisible injuries, like the world does not see that the same way because you look fine. And I think I wanted to be fine really, really bad. Like I wanted to be normal. I wanted to be like, no, I'm totally fine. Like I am not injured. The airbags didn't even go off, right? Like I must be fine. And I think as time went on, it just became more and more obvious that I was like not okay. And then there's a lot of things that still are not okay. And so I think when you take these life things and you couple them with these big events that we do, like it's can be very hard to like stay in a good headspace. And I'm very lucky to have like, you know, Brandon that I work with regularly, but then also people who are like, it's okay. But it does, I wouldn't say, well, that I'm lucky to have that, it does not make it any easier. So this whole like going into Derry Roubaix, I was like a basket case, and that race was terrifying to me for all the reasons we talked about in that episode, but also just for like, I think that accident just like shook so much of like not where I was like, I don't feel safe anymore in the same way. There can be stuff that comes up in this sport without an accident like that that makes you feel crazy or not safe or whatever. So going into Unbound, it was like miraculous that that did not completely freak me out. And I think some of it was just I had put so much energy into like preparing for that and like watched so many videos and was just like ready for whatever it was going to be and just like wasn't going to necessarily give myself a choice, but also knew that if I needed to pull the plug, like if I got to a place where I was like, this really is not going to be good for me, that I could.
I will say from like my perspective, I was so impressed with how calm you were. It was really noticeable compared to I think the rest of the group at Unbound, but also just you I mean compared to other races, you were so calm about anything that could happen.
I really think it was just like I had gotten to a very good place of acceptance about Unbound and was just, and
Mhm.
Aaron and I had made a deal, like we were doing it together. And I think that also was very comforting for me. Had we not had that, I don't know that I would have finished.
Well, having like knowing you have somebody,
Yeah.
like that's a huge part of that race.
Yeah.
That like there wasn't going to be like the moment. I mean, like you've talked about it, Maggie, where you were like alone essentially, and it's like,
Yeah.
how do I keep going forward into this unknown by myself?
And also it was scary. Like legitimately scary. Like
Legitimately
in the
scary.
dark, in the storms. Like, yeah. And then to be
Yeah.
alone. And that was hard.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
I
I
wouldn't want to do that again without someone. I mean, I'll make that if anybody wants to make that deal with me again, like I'll do that again. But
to do the 200 again.
if you could guarantee me a dry day, I'd 100% do it again.
I'm sorry,
No
I
guarantees
don't
for
have
that.
that deal with Mother
Yeah.
Nature because I would remove wind from existence.
But anyway, like so I think that's the Unbound experience also has made the like getting ready for Reading actually harder.
I was gonna say, like, I think as like a friend and someone who's experienced ready training next to you, like, I think that's the really hard thing to grasp of like, you had this terrible accident, you did this insanely hard race, and like inside you might not have been like to the outside world you were like composed and did it, and then it's like this weird trickle effect that happened after it where it's like everything after Unbound has felt really hard and really scary and questioning everything about the sport. Like that's been the I think tricky part of like this whole build of like you did this insanely hard thing and now something you've done how many times
8.
is like literally make wrecking you.
Yeah. I think there's a couple things with that. One, I wasn't going to let that accident take Unbound, and there was a actual chance that it would have taken Unbound, and I had kind of been like, it's
Mhm.
not, I'm not going to let it. And when we changed from North Carolina to Reading, again, that was pre-whiplash diagnosis, pre-concussion diagnosis. You could also blame the concussion for me, like not having like a actual like, this is a
This
bad
sounds like a
idea.
bad idea.
Right.
Like, there's also an element of me that's still a people pleaser and like was like, okay, well, I told Claire I'd do this with her. Claire, I know you're gonna listen to this. Please do not be offended or upset in any
She's gonna
way.
text you
I know.
immediately.
But like, there's part of me that's like didn't want to let her down, right? And like, because I could have been like, I understand if you can't do this. You like don't count on me. that totally would have been okay for me to say and would have bought me extra weeks. But at the time, like, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know that I had a concussion. I didn't know how bad the whiplash was when
And
we had to
like
make that decision.
how long it hung on.
Yes.
That's the
And even had so I've talked to my PT chiropractor who's like treating me for the whiplash and concussion multiple times. And I'm like, am I making this worse? Like, should I just stop doing everything? Do I need to fully do nothing for a period of time? And at this point, she's like, no. At this point, there's no reason for you to stop because you'll just get weaker. We don't want you to get weaker. We need you to keep working on like strengthening those muscles or whatever. She's like, the problem is that whiplash can take like 6 to 9 months to heal. Just like
Wow.
the way the blood flows in that part of your body and like she's like, it just might take that long. And so there's no reason for you to stop unless it's getting worse, which it's not getting worse. It's just not getting better fast. So anyway, so here we are building for Reading, and I hate riding on the road right now. I hate it. And when we were in Lake Placid, we were supposed to do a 55-mile bike ride, which I wasn't super excited about to begin with because like the mountain curvy roads is like not my jam. I love a good flat road, and I don't have a problem climbing, but I like to be able to see like where the turns are, what's coming next. And I knew that Lake Placid was not necessarily going to be that. It's something for me to work on, certainly. Like, I would love to like take my gravel bike and go out to Colorado and like ride out there. But the gravel bike is like such a different animal than being on the road because there are no cars. And so the cars thing now is a big hurdle for me that I didn't expect. And even before Unbound, after my bike got all tuned up for Unbound, I didn't want to like ride it as much like the gravel bike. So I did several road rides with Claire and Laura where I like fully had like panic on the bike about cars passing and just like not feeling safe. And then in New York, it happened again.
and like also we came from our Colorado trip where it was 90 degrees and sweltering hot every day. And we went to Lake Placid and it was like 70s, not very humid. And so I don't think none of us like packed and went to Lake Placid in prep for like what it was going to be like. And so we woke up Saturday morning to it raining.
And
It was 40 some degrees outside, of which none of us were prepped for.
And I don't do opposite of Maggie. I do terrible when I get really cold. The cold was a major, major factor at Derry Roubaix. And while it was not that cold, it was cold on the bike. And I just remember we like headed out from the Airbnb and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cold. And I kept telling myself, like, you'll warm up, you'll warm up, you'll warm up. We started out like these rollers.
Immediately into this stupid hill.
Yeah, and I was like, first of all, my quads are not warmed up enough to like
They
just
hurt.
fucking climb this hill. Like I was like, this is
So
not
bad.
this is not good. I am of an age where I legitimately have to warm up like in order to be able to do certain things, and this was not that. And then, by the way, like anybody, like please, who's listening to this, who's like in their 20s, early 30s, like enjoy the time of your life where like a warm up is not necessary. It will come to an end. I'm super sorry to tell you that. I didn't want to believe it was true. It's freaking true.
But I hit that hill and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This hurts.
There was no, I'm like in the littlest gear and I was like, I can't like get in an easy enough gear to make this the warm up.
The best is Maggie knew about this hill too. Later, they're
We
like,
had ridden it the day before when it was it wasn't like hot, but it was warm. And so then that felt good because Logan and I were trying to do activation intervals, which is easy to do on an uphill. So
Not at
just different
49 degrees.
Yeah.
context. Yeah.
So we like, but anyway, we ride to the end of this, which is like 3 miles out, and Claire and Laura have stopped to wait for me. And I just remember like rolling up and being like, I am not about this. Like, I am not about this. And we take off to go back, and like the whole ride, but like, I was just so scared. There's like a deer standing on the side of the road, and I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna jump out in front of us. So then I'm braking, so then I lose momentum. So then, like, going uphill, then we're going down another hill, and like I'm freezing to death, and it's raining. I just like got to a point where I was like fully like not okay. And I think we saw maybe 2 cars the whole ride. It wasn't like there were a lot of cars, but it was just sort of this in the back of my mind, like a car could come around one of these curves, they wouldn't see us, something bad could happen. There's nobody out here, there's no service. Like in these like backwoods kind of places, I can't even like message somebody to come and help us if I need them. You know what I mean? So it's just like every story, bad thing that you could possibly tell yourself was like what was happening. And then which led ultimately to like a full breakdown, like where I'm literally like stopped on the side of the road, like, and Claire and Laura are like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. I am not okay. Like literally shaking. And I think we called Aaron to come and get me, but I was like, that was supposed to be a 55-mile ride. And like, I don't think I have ever, until this year, that I've ever bailed on a workout like that.
I also don't think you would have if we
No, I probably would have forced myself to keep going.
correct, which would not have been beneficial at all either. Because, like, I remember looking at her and I was like, you're not doing this. Like, as your friend, I'm not letting you do this. Like, no, you're not biking anymore. There's no reason you have to put yourself through that. And I think sometimes in this sport, we think we have to. Like, there's this workout on the books, you have to do this. Because this happened to me the other week running, where I was like, I felt so physically ill. And it hit a point where I was like, why are you're gaining literally nothing from this. If anything, it's hurting you. And the mental side of like, are you going to be happy just because you did the workout, or is it going to be more detrimental of what it causes in the ripple effect? And that was all I could think of looking at her, where I was like, this is not worth it. Like, no, you have plenty of bike fitness. I have no doubt she can do this bike course, but like, you don't have to do this to your nervous system. And so we weren't going to let you.
But also that probably like compounds the feeling, right? Of then on top of everything else, not doing the workout that you were planning to do. Like that doesn't always make you feel great.
No. It's like such a fine line to understand where to pull the plug and where to push through. And I err on the side of pushing through versus stopping, and figuring out where the line is like hard for me. And I think that is part of the mental health thing. Like, I don't ever want to, it's finding the line between I'm actually legitimately in a bad place and this is not a good idea, and I'm using this as an excuse to do the thing I don't want to do. Right? There's a line there of like where people can be like, well, I don't feel good, so I don't, and therefore I don't want to do this, versus being like, actually you'll feel better if you go do it. Like, but it's hard to find the line. And what I ended up doing was I went back, I immediately changed into running clothes, and I did the 4-mile run that was supposed to be part of the brick that was part of the workout. And then the run actually made me feel better. But that's like very controlled, right? Like when you're running, it's like a very different experience in terms of like traffic and all of that, right? So it's like you also find where you can do what you can do. Whenever people are like, oh, listen to your body, I'm fucking terrible at that, guys. I'm so bad at that. It's one of those things that when people say that, I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? because I'm pretty sure she lies to me all the time. Like, right? Like she'll be like, "This hurts, you're dying." And I'm like, "No, you're
Push
fine.
through.
Keep going. You're not dying." So,
Yeah.
like there's like right? So like that's and I know different people are better at that than others. That is not something I'm good at. So,
On the flip side, though, it's always impressive to me, though, because sometimes I'm like, I don't know how she does that. Like, she just like zones in and just goes. And I'm like, sometimes I wish I had that trigger.
it's the override button.
Dee dee.
So then, given that, how did this weekend's bike ride go?
This weekend's bike, since we've been home, biking's been fine. But I have biked
Okay.
my like loop that I'm very comfortable with multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
I like know every pothole, I know every turn, I know everything. Like it just feels more controlled. And yes, there is still traffic and all of that, but it's been very much like familiar.
Mm-hmm.
There are still things that I don't love. Like you know, all these like country boys here that drive big pickup trucks.
Yep.
Like that's been kind of triggering for me riding. But again, I'm in a familiar place. My phone works here. Aaron knows where I am. Like, or I'm with people that like where it feels not that I wasn't with people that I trust in
She
New
was with the
York.
same two
I was with
people.
the same people, but like it just is like a very different feeling because like there's like no element of surprise for me. And so that's been fine. Like this weekend's workout, the bike was totally fine. I don't think we like overdid it by any means in terms of like we didn't like go out and hammer it like crazy. I did hammer my workouts that were during the week, but my weekend ride was like pretty chill, not too crazy. The run though was torture, but that's like I don't know what it's gonna take to come back to running at this point. Like some days I'm like, oh, I think I'm making progress, and then but the majority of days if it's like, oh, I don't have maybe I'm not a runner anymore. So,
Is that more a physical feeling or a mental block, do you feel like?
well, the physical feeling creates the mental thought. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
coming back to running. I was telling Casey, actually in New York. Was it in New York? Whatever. I was on a run with Casey recently. I don't remember which run it was, where I was like, I would rather, and I don't particularly love to swim for anybody who doesn't know me. I would rather swim right now than run. Like, so,
That says a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
But I think that's like in the mental aspect of it, coming back from any setback can be really hard. And especially when you have something major on the other side of it, makes it, I think, harder. Because you know what's coming and you know what you have to do. And to feel like, I don't know if I can do this.
I may end up pushing the cutoff limit in Reading based on the run. Like the swim is not going to be a particularly fast swim for me, but I have no doubt I can do the swim. I did the distance while we were in New York, and so I'm like, oh, okay, like this is fine. You'll be able to finish the swim. It'll just take a while, and the bike will be no problem. Like, but the run I may end up having to walk most of it. We'll see. I'm still running intervals and I've been trying to do this like in this thing where I like do walk for 2 minutes, run for 2 minutes, walk for 2 minutes, run for 3 minutes, walk for 2 minutes, run for 4 minutes, walk for 2 minutes, run for 5 minutes, like that kind of thing to like build up to it, which sometimes works really well, and then days like yesterday does not work at all. So, yeah.
I have no doubt you'll finish it, but
Yeah.
that's me being me.
What do you want at this point? Like, do you want to be able to take a break? Are you kind of ready for Reading to be done and reset, or do you want to keep pushing?
I don't know exactly. I think that, Aaron having his accident in Colorado, not being able to do Lake Placid, like we haven't even talked about the mental health of like when you have an event like that and then you can't do it. And for me, while it was not my event, and I can't talk about this without crying about it, but like I have never seen him work so hard for a race.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's worked hard. Like he worked really hard to qualify for Worlds in Spain and like did everything he needed to do for that. But he's often the guy who's like, "Ah, yeah, I can just ride my fitness, like it'll be fine. Like it'll hurt, but I'll do whatever." And this he did not do that. He did 3 20-mile runs where he ran like at least 1,000 feet of climbing in every run to prep for Lake Placid. That shit's not easy. And like it would be so easy to just be like, I'm just gonna run and the race will be what it is, and he didn't do that. And so then to have that like taken away was so hard. And while like we wanted to be in Lake Placid for you and Logan, and ultimately we were, it was a much harder day than I think either of us expected it to be. There is a loss associated with when you've invested so much time and energy into it and then you can't do it. And for him, it was like that was a huge, huge mental, emotional investment to not be able to do the thing. And for me, it was just like super sad. So I think there's like an element of grief tied to that. There's an element of grief in the fact that I'm not technically cleared from the whiplash yet, and so I can't even like experiment with like I still have to just try to keep it very controlled and all of that. I can't necessarily really push things. And so I don't know coming off of this like what I want to do. I think now that Aaron's doing Ironman Wisconsin, like that changed things a lot for this fall. Like we were very much like, okay, well, obviously we'll be at Ironman to like cheer on, Paul and our other teammates at the 70.3. Like, of course, we'll be there for all of that, but we won't be doing it, and that'll be nice. Like, we'll have like from mid-August like through the end of September where it still kind of feels like summer here to like do other things. And he and I were talking about like before his accident, we were talking about some other gravel rides maybe we wanted to try in the fall to like, and so I just don't know now. Like right now it's just like everything feels like it's hanging in the air, and what I want is not super super clear yet. Hopefully it will be after Reading. But I mean, there's a big part of me that's like, if running continues to feel this freaking bad, there I would just be like, like, I don't know that I'm going to keep doing triathlon. Like, that's,
Yeah.
so,
Which is another hard
yeah.
spot to be
Another
in.
hard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 20. No, this is not 20. This is going to be, I forget what number this is. Anywhere where it's the first one that one of us is like, then cried on. So here you go, guys.
Maggie cried.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
I
Maggie
haven't
cried.
cried.
Second one. First
Unbound
one.
recap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's important and a part of one life and the sport, but it's also something that's not talked about and people don't want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. But like, it's freaking hard. And like, we have to function in so many roles and different aspects for so many people and parts of our lives. And then you add in, you're doing these like really hard workouts and extremely challenging things, all while trying to manage your literal self. That is tricky.
Yeah, like this doesn't even factor in. Like all we've talked about is like the build and work. We haven't talked about how any of us like have full-time jobs.
Right.
Right? Like I work a full-time corporate job when I work anywhere from 45 to 50 hours a week. Like aside from,
All of this.
10 to 15 hours a week of workouts and being married, and I honest to God don't know how anybody does this with children.
Actually
Yeah,
don't.
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
And like,
Yeah.
because, and I think sometimes we like play it off because like I have coworkers that are like, I don't understand how you do it. And I'm like, ha, ha, ha. But it's hard. Like, there's beautiful sides to this and wonderful things, but like, it's really hard sometimes. And like, you do sacrifice a lot at some points that a lot of people just don't see. So I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe in some aspect, we're bringing to light that and making it not so hidden. I don't know.
I mean,
Well,
it
and I
is a
think to
lot
what you
of,
said earlier, Holly, like it can feel like you're letting people down sometimes. I mean, the example that you gave was with like within this community and like in deciding to race together. But I think outside of it too, when you're working and doing the workouts and everything else, it can feel isolating and like you're never doing enough for everyone else.
yeah. I think there's a lot of places where I've gotten better, but there's still places where that's a primary factor and you worry about, not living up to your responsibilities in certain
Mm-hmm.
aspects or like doing everything that you need to be doing. And I think it's part of why participation, I mean, yeah, we're all talking all the time about how we need more women in sport. And even if you look at the sport as a whole and you look at the statistics about the number of people who participate in triathlon within the whole world, and we're in the community, so it feels like it's everybody we know. But in the grand scope, it's like 0.001% of people. It's an insanely small number when you look at like the entire population. And there's a reason for that because it is freaking hard. And I think, there's a lot of stuff about how working out is good for your mental health and that it's important that you're doing it for your mental health. But yeah, there's aspects of it that are also really hard on mental health. And we're touching on like my mental emotional journey, which also has nothing to do with like people can get really caught up in like comparison in this sport, and
Mm-hmm.
that can take a like crazy mental toll, or hyper competitiveness or things like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I was going to touch on like, because I think a lot of this we do for our mental health, but yes, there's this like balance of, I mean, it's thrown all of us into, I think, dark places. Sorry,
Yeah.
Maggie, I'm speaking for you, mainly because we're friends and we've talked about it. But like,
Yeah.
it's, I think this sport has put us all into like very dark places at times, which is hard to also understand for something you love so much. And I think that's a weird thing. Like, post the Ironman blues, like, I didn't think I was like, it's not going to be that bad. Like, and I think that's also why we like raced Chattanooga so soon after Ironman. But like, in a sense, I think it just delayed a lot of the things I was feeling about Ironman. And then it just happened after Chattanooga as well. So it's like a beautiful, sad love story.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of it is that it's like so tied up in, I mean, I won't speak for you two, but it's so tied up in my identity at this point that yeah, anything that feels hard feels like really central to who I am too. So it just think feels more intense.
But yeah, I mean, it is pretty much my identity outside of a few things.
I mean, I think there's like grief associated with like letting parts of identity die, and I've been through identity death before, in terms of like with horses is like a very easy example for me to give of, that was literally my whole identity from the time I was like an 8-year-old child until my early 30s. And so that can be really hard, and there is like a lot of grief associated with that and a lot of trying to like work through giving it up. And I think there is an element of like triathlon that could be like that for people as like you're transitioning. And I don't think it has to be like I love the lifestyle. I don't know that and I think again, like I work a lot on the identity piece of like not allowing it to be everything of it's something I do as opposed to who I am. And I want to do it. It's just now the place of like, to your point, Maggie, it's not just triathlon, it's like doing the hard thing. I don't, I also think there's like society, like we're in this like weird place, especially if anybody spends any time on social media, of like between the like soft girl stuff, right? Or like the slow morning stuff, and then the like choose the thing that scares you, choose the thing that's hard. If you're between this and this, pick the scary thing. And usually these like big hard events are the scary things. And so it is just also this like weird messaging of like how do you find the right balance of like slow and soft versus picking the scary thing. And so I, again, to the point earlier, like I err to the side of like picking the hard thing, picking the scary thing. Maybe my whole thing after Reading needs to be like not doing that. I don't know.
Slow coffee mornings.
Yeah.
What would that be like?
That's a concept. We talk about it all the time when we're done with these workouts and we like go somewhere and we're like, wow, look at those people. They just probably like slept in and woke up and
Look, they're so cute and they're matching outfits.
yeah, and they're going to get coffee.
But even maybe like the slow thing or just like the not scary hard thing, finding the not scary hard thing in the sport. I think there's space for that too. And maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe that means not doing a half Ironman. It means doing sprints or doing more local races or I don't know. Or doing them with a different mindset about how the race goes. I feel like that was one of the things that was really hard for me this year after Unbound is I was very much in like, why do I do this? Like what reason do I have to keep doing this? And it had been about doing hard things and that did not feel good to me anymore. And then I had to shift more to a space of I want to do this to enjoy it and to have fun. And I did that at Lake Placid, but I definitely did not go to a place of it being hard. I could have probably kept running and been miserable, but I just walked and then ran when I felt okay. And I don't know now at this point how much I feel any desire to do a race to ever be like really fast again. So maybe it's just like doing something different in the way that you approach the sport too. Taking the time off doing this some mornings, but also.
One of my goals after Reading is going to be to find some gym that I actually like, that I actually can enjoy, and trying to get like stronger. I think the accident, like because I haven't been able to do that stuff, right? Like I'm not technically cleared to be able to like do all those things. So, but that is one of my goals because I do think that might help some of it feel better. And I know I won't do it at home. Like I have a Peloton, we have weights. Like I will not do it by myself. Like so.
And I think we can talk post-Reading after post-Reading too, but I think knowing I'm doing an Ironman next year, I do need to like get my mind in a space, seeing as Ironman Wisconsin was rough on me at the end, and I don't want to get there. So I feel like there's going to be quite a bit of work on getting me mentally into a sound place before that even starts. I think we need to sleep in and drink coffee.
I can't sleep in.
Well,
My body won't let me. That I could listen to her about, but she will not sleep in.
Maybe that's the goal, Holly. Sleep till at least 5.
That would be sleeping in for me.
Maggie, do you have any like internal thought?
No, I mean, I think it's really great that you shared this, Holly, because I think there's not enough people that talk about it. And I think we barely even touched on what mental health in sport can be like. Like you were listing off earlier, there can be a lot of other things that people go through, but it can be so easy to see like people's workouts on Strava or see people's social media and think that they are doing just fine. And that is not necessarily the case. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's good that we're talking about it. So,
Would love to find someone who's maybe a little bit of an expert who would be willing to like come on and like talk about like the other part, like comparison and the hyper competitiveness and the role your ego plays in all of this too. Like we didn't even in all of that story that I just talked through, we didn't even talk about that, which I know is also something that can be a factor. So we'll have to talk about it again, but I think it's worthwhile to do that.
Agreed.
Okay, well, this one's going to be kind of long. So
We hit on 2 topics, essentially.
yes.
yeah.
So it might feel a little heavy when everybody listens to this as we're going into Reading, but
And that's okay.
That's
It's
okay.
allowed to.
yeah. But we will have, like I said, we'll have a race recap post Reading for you. We've got some other exciting episodes with special guests coming up. So all of that should be cool. Maggie's going to be moving back halfway across the country.
Yay.
So I'm sure we'll touch on that more. Erin's racing Ironman. We'll talk about that. So, and still let us know if you want to be a guest. We have a bit of a short list we're working through, and we will be reaching out to you probably once things settle down after Reading to try to book more guest spots. So, thank you for being patient.
We appreciate all of our listeners.
Yes. If you are in the DC area, though, Maggie, we are running out of time.
Well, by the time this comes out, there's basically no time.
That's
So
True.
don't stress me out my last few days, people. You missed the boat at this
Right. If
point.
you haven't slid in to be on, it's too late.
It's too late. I do want to call out, I shared this with the two of you, but just for any of our listeners who make it to the end here, I did get a very nice message for someone who watched our Sherpa episode on YouTube and sent us a very nice DM and was asking for more tips and tricks about Sherping, wanting to make sure that he provided the right experience for his girlfriend's first 70.3, which was this weekend. I have not seen a message come through. I asked him to let us know how it went. I haven't seen a message yet, but I just want to say thank you. His name is Shelby, to him for messaging us. I really appreciate that. So,
And
Yeah,
we'll
that's
keep the
awesome.
tips and tricks coming because I feel like we like talk about a lot of things and then we like finish and we're like, oh, we should have said X, Y, and Z. So,
yeah.
And like we're always learning. Because like case in point, the tip and trick to like tell where you're going to meet after the race. And literally none of us did that in Placid. So,
Nope.
whoops. Oopsies.
That's okay.
So, okay, all of the platforms, people, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Substack, Instagram, TikTok, email,
Yeah. You can DM any of us.
like, follow, subscribe, share, send it to your friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. Okay, bye.